بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Assalamu alaikum guys once again. Today we're gonna finish off Sarf. We're gonna wind up inshallah, just title, finish everything that is pending, and then we'll see what to do next. So what's pending is basically just two short topics. We have Rubaa'ii, and I'm not going to go into so many details of Rubaa'ii. We're just going to cover what was covered in Bayina program, and maybe just look at some of the words that exist in the Quran. And it's very short, and then after that we will look at how Sarf words are used. And that will be the end of Sarf. By the way, these are topics all in your Bayina textbook. If you check your Bayina textbook, you have Rubaa'ii and you have also how Sarf words are used. And that will conclude the topic of Sarf. Okay, Bismillah. So let's start with Rubaa'ii. Basically, Rubaa'ii, what we've covered so far up until now, we've covered Thulathi. We've covered 3-letter roots. So 3 root letters, basically, words with 3 root letters. Okay, so if you look at all the words we have done, they have mainly 3 root letters. Those are the foundation of the word. Say for example, the word Nasara. Okay, Nasara. The root letters are Noon, Sad, and Ra. Okay, if you take this jither, the root letters, and then so if it is just limited to the 3 letters, it is called Thulathi Mujarrad. We covered this way in the beginning. So Thulathi Mujarrad, limited to only the 3 root letters, like Nasara, for example. Nusira, limited. Fataha, like that. But if you take these 3 root letters and you put them into another container, for example, Af'ala container, then you have Ansara, right? Or if you take it to a Fa'ala container, you have Nassara. You take it to an Istaghfara, Istaf'ala container, it will be Istansara. Yeah? Istansara. So all that, the big families is called Mazid Fihi because it's the same 3 root letters, but you've added something else. Okay, so that's basically the word of 3 root letters. Now we want to look at 4 root letters. What that means is that instead of 3 root letters, now we have 4 root letters. And the same principle basically applies. So we're going to be dealing with 4 root letters instead of 3 root letters. That's what Rubaa'ii means. Just like Thulathi means 3 root letters, Rubaa'ii 4 root letters. Now, Rubaa'ii is also categorized into the same categories, Mujarrad and Mazid Fihi. Just like in Thulathi, we had Mujarrad and we had Mazid Fihi. Same thing with Rubaa'ii. We have Rubaa'ii Mujarrad and Rubaa'ii Mazid Fihi. What does that mean? It means the same thing. If it is limited to only 4 letters, okay, if it is limited to 4 letters, it's going to be called Mujarrad. If you take it and put it into a certain container, then it's going to be Mazid Fihi. And the way we denote these two is Mujarrad is like that's how you label them. Like for example, the other families, we label them Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, and so on and so forth. With Rubaa'ii, Mujarrad, we're going to call it R1, and Rubaa'ii Mazid Fihi, we're going to call it R2. That's basically it. That's all you need to know about Rubaa'ii. So let's look at what the textbook says as far as this is concerned. Okay, so basically majority of the words, of the verbs that you're going to come across, or the words, they're going to be 3 letter root. They're going to have 3 root letters in them. But you have a few that may have 4 letters, and this also happens in the Quran, and that's why we are studying Rubaa'ii. So again, we've talked about Rubaa'ii Mujarrad, we've talked about Rubaa'ii Mazid Fihi, and the distinction of the difference between the two. So the same way you look at small families and big families in Thulathi, the same way you look at small families and big families in Rubaa'ii. So Rubaa'ii is also known as R1. So for example, Ba' ba'thara. If you look at the word ba'thara, and this happens in the Quran as well, that's why we are looking at it. You have ba, so this is the first letter, ba, then you have ayn, then you have tha, then you have ra. So if you count, these are 4 different letters, okay? That's why we are saying it's ruba'i, it's 4-letter root. So ba'thara. And how you just know that is ba'thara, yuba'thiru, ba'tharatan, fahuwa muba'thirun, bu'thira, yuba'tharu, ba'tharatan, fahuwa muba'tharun. Again, you can see all the principles of isim fa'il apply. U'i, u'a, al-amru sukun, ba'thir, la tuba'thir, muba'tharun. Okay. So these ones, you just, because there are very few in the Quran, you just memorize them, like ba'thara yuba'thiru. I know that's the pattern. Fa'alala yufa'lilu. That's basically how the sarf goes. Now, if you look at mazid fihi now, for example, they've given us 2 examples here. They've given us the example of itma'anna. So وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَعْبُدُ اللَّهَ عَلَى حَرْفٍ فَإِنْ أَصَابَهُ خَيْرٌ اطْمَأَنَّ بِهِ. And then we have this, the second example is تَقْشَعِرُّ, تَقْشَعِرُّ. So these are the 2 examples they give us. So let's look at إقشعر first, and I don't know if they give, then we'll do itma'anna. They didn't give itma'anna, but I'll say it to you, inshallah. So إقشعر, so you can see there's this that is an addition. Then you have the first letter, the second letter, the third letter, and 1 R, 1 Ra. So that gives you your 4 letters. But then there's an addition, there's a shadda here, which makes it mudha'af. So the same rules of mudha'af are going to apply in this case. This is like اقترب version of the ruba'i. Like, so you have iqsha'arra, but it's mudha'af, so there's a doubling at the end. So you're just going to treat it like mudha'af. Iqsha'arra, yaqsha'irru, so you can see here it's splitting, like iqtiraban, iqsha'iraran, فهو مقشعر, اقشعر, يقشعر, اقشعرارا, فهو مقشعر, الأمر منه اقشعر. Again, you see how many amrs? 3, just like مضاعف. اقشعر, اقشعري, اقشعرر, لا تقشعر, لا تقشعري, لا تقشعرر, and والظرف منه مقشعر. Okay, so this one appears in the Quran, and that's why we're covering it. Itma'anna as well. So when you look at itma'anna, for example, so you have itma'anna. What do you write? I don't wanna. Yeah, I know I messed up. Itma'anna. So this, the first alif is part of the container, so we leave that. You have ta as your first letter, mim as your second letter, hamza as your third letter, and at the end here you have 2 noons. So 1 noon is going to be a letter, and the other noon is going to be part of the container. Same thing like iksha'arra. So this is the same pattern. You see, iksha'arra, itma'anna. Same pattern. So itma'anna, yatma'innu, itmi'inanan, fahuwa mutma'innun, utmu'inna, yutma'annu, itmi'inanan, fahuwa mutma'annu, مطمئن الأمر منه اطمئني اطمئن اطمئني اطمئنن والنهي عنه لا تطمئن لا تطمئن لا تطمئني لا تطمئنن والظرف منه مطمئن. So the same thing. So this part, this container would be افعلل. Okay, so itma'anna, if'alala, well, if'alala. But because it's mudha'af, is going to be if'alla, basically. Because it's mudha'af, is going to be if'alla. So itma'anna, if'alla. That's what is going to happen. If'alala. If'alala. That's part of, that's basically what you would find as far as Ruba'i is concerned in the textbook. But I just want to bring to your attention, like, you have another kind of Ruba'i muda'af words in the Quran, like as'asa, for example. As'asa This is the madi will be عسعس يعسعس whatever the masdar is, then you continue like that. So you have 2, 3, 4 root letters. You see? The same thing, you have 1 waswasa. Wasawis shaitan. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now why these ones are called muda'af is because when you look at them, you see like they're repeating. There's a doubling. It's the same jidr repeating. So you have ayn, sin, then ayn, sin. It's repeating. It's doubling. The same jidr, ayn, sin, ayn, sin. Waw, sin, waw, sin. Zal, zaylam, zaylam. Okay? Ha, sin, ha, sin. Hasad, sorry. Hasad, hasad. Has, hasa. Damdama, kab, kaba. All these, they occur in the Quran and they follow the same rulings. They're all Rubaa'ii, 1 muda'af. And that's basically the end of Rubaa'ii. Any questions on Rubaa'ii? Is that all clear? So when you see these words in the Quran, just know these words are Rubaa'ii. Okay? I think it's pretty clear. It's not really a difficult topic, Rubaa'ii. Pretty straightforward. Okay, now what I wanted to cover today, I hope I can be able to finish this. I'm gonna go a little bit quick, the initial parts, because I think these are things that you already know. So it's just a matter of us reminding ourselves, because I want to introduce something that we've never been taught before, and I feel like it's important I should share with you guys. Yes, Saima.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So there is one more Rubaa'ii in the Quran. It's in Al Imran, ayah number 75. Biqintarin.
Qintar?
Yes, Qintar. So I was wondering, is it the masdar? Yeah, masdar. Is it masdar?
I think it's a masdar. I don't know if it is, I don't know about that one, honestly. I'll have to check. But yeah, qintar is a masdar. Qintar is actually ism jamid. According to my knowledge, I didn't know if it was if it is munsarif, like if you can conjugate it. So that's something I have to find out. Qantara. It would mean that the verb would be qantara, yuqantiru, qintaran. Maybe.
So we have seen, like in Bayana textbook, we have given 2 examples.
Yes.
So masdar was not matching with either one of them. So I was wondering, is it some another?
إقشعرارا and تقشعر and it's مئنانا. Because قنطرة is not Rubaa'ii 2. It's actually Rubaa'ii 1. It's like بعثرة. So قنطرة, يقنطر, and then قنطارا, because we know مجرد, they have their own masdars. It can be different. So that's why the masdar does not match here. Yeah?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but otherwise everything else would match, except for the masdar, because the masdar in small families is going to be different. Yeah, that's a good one. I didn't even know about that one.
I came across it today itself.
Oh, alhamdulillah. Yeah, and if you find any more, because I know there are very few, we can easily know them. So if you find any more, you can mention them, and then we can take a look.
Sure.
And maybe we can even decipher, is it R1 or is it R2, like that. Okay, great. Any other questions?
No, alhamdulillah.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so how sarf words are used. Okay, so we've done sarf, we've done all the different sighas. We know what an isim fa'il is, we know what an isim maf'ul is, we know what a sifa is, we know all these different parts of sarf. But how are they used? So sometimes, and this is also in your textbooks, so sometimes you can have words that behave like a sifa. Okay, like I used certain sighas that are used, or certain sarf words that are used as sifas. Okay, the first one is an isim fa'il. So whenever you see an isim fa'il, sometimes it can be used to describe something. These are called words that are used for descriptions. So an isim fa'il can be used for describing somebody. Or you like, for example, you can say a sitting man. If I say a sitting man, I'm using like rajulun jalisun, yeah, a sitting man. I'm using sitting, which is jalis, which is an isim fa'il, as a sifa. Okay, so that's one way we can use an isim fa'il. We can also use isim maf'ul to describe. These are ayat of the Quran that you find in your textbook. So wala abdun mu'minun. Abdun is the mawsuf. Mu'minun. So we know amana yu'minu imanan fahuwa mu'minun. Mu'minun is an isim fa'il. So this mu'minun is a sifa to abdun in this case. Then you have isim maf'ul, for example. وقصر مشيد وبئر معطلة. مشيد, we did this when we did ajwaf. So when you have ajwaf in the middle, the isim maf'ul follows the pattern mafilin. Mafilun, remember that pattern? We did mafilun. So this is what you have. That is why it is an isim maf'ul here. So this mashid is describing qasr, these palaces. Okay. So an isim maf'ul can also be used as a description of something. And of course, the famous one is the isim sifa. We know it's in the name exactly. It means it's a description. So qawman, amin. Here qawman is the mawsuf, and amin, like kareem, like what else is there? Basir. All this is ism sifa, and it can be used to describe something else. So you have these words. These words are used as descriptors, as words that describe things. So that's one way you can use sarf words. Okay. Another way you can use sarf words is words behaving like fi'als. How do they behave like fi'als? In two ways. They either take a maf'ul bihi or they take a fa'il. Okay. So words that behave like they would say these are words that have a job or have a work, like they are amil, they have a job, they do a job. Why? Because a fa'il is something that does an action, right? Something that does a job. So in the same way, these words also, they do a certain job, like they would take a fa'il, or they would take a maf'ul bihi. Let's look at the first example. We have an isim fa'il. So we know that an isim fa'il can take a maf'ul bihi, or it can take a fa'il. So for example, here we have لعلك باخع فاعل. So we have بخع, and then the isim fa'il is باخع. That is the isim fa'il. And then what comes after it, we can see it is nasab, nafsaka. We know an isim by default is supposed to be rafa, nafsu. But here in this case, it's nafsa. Why? Because the isim fa'il here is doing a job. It's acting on that isim right there. And it's making it mansub because this one is the maf'ul bihi. So bakhi'un nafsaka. You're killing yourself. Okay? You're almost killing yourself. Because they haven't believed. The Prophet is being told, like, you're about to kill yourself because the mushrikun of Makkah have not believed. Yeah. So that's how an isim fa'il, for example, can take a maf'ul bihi. And then you have isim maf'ul. Isim maf'ul also can take a fa'il. Okay. So in most cases, isim maf'uls, they take a fa'il, not a maf'ul bihi, because they're already a maf'ul. So, I think this ayah got mixed up a little bit. I don't know what happened. ذلك يوم.
ذلك يوم comes first.
Uh-huh.
ذلك يوم مجموع له الناس وذلك يوم مشهود.
I don't know what happened here. Oops. Yeah, so I think I just I messed that up a little bit. Yeah, so this is what happens when you don't understand orientation. When you switch from English to Arabic, everything just comes messed up. Anyway, so مجموع له الناس, So how did you say it? Sorry, remind me the ayah again. ذلك يوم
ذلك يوم مجموع له الناس وذلك يوم مشهود.
Yeah. So ذلك يوم مجموع. So of course يوم مجموع موصوف صفة there, but also مجموع له الناس. So the people are the ones who are going to be gathered on that day. So مجموع means the thing being gathered. Okay, but here you see it's taking an outside dua, fa'il, الناس. Who are the things that are going to be gathered on that day? The people. Sorry, not a fa'il, but a naibul fa'il in this case. Yeah. So مجموع له الناس. Yeah. So you have something like that. And then of course also a masdar sometimes can do a job, like it can make something mansub, or depending on what it's doing. Okay, so masdar can also do several jobs. So for example, here we have this ayah, كذكركم آبائكم آباءكم, sorry. Dhikr, mentioning, or it's a masdar, it's an idea. So you're mentioning or remembrance. So for example, we can use it. So your remembrance of your fathers, آباءكم, is going to be the مفعول به of ذكركم. I think this is pretty much, you're familiar with this concept. I don't think it's a very new concept. Maybe you can look in the Quran, and if you see like a masdar, or you see an isim fa'il, and after it or somewhere there's a maf'ul bihi or fa'il, you can share it with us and we can take some more examples for that. Maybe I will try and come up with exercises and post it in the group for you to identify, is it a masdar? Oh, actually I did. Yeah, I did. We're going to look at that. Sorry, I did. Yeah, we're gonna go into that. So yeah, that's basically words that behave like fi'als. So اسم فاعل, اسم مفعول, and masdar. They behave like a fi'al. They either take a مفعول به or they take a fa'il. Yes, Saima.
Can you please explain how the masdar is acting as a verb?
Okay. So you have dhikr. Dhikr is a masdar, right? So in this case, dhikrikum, your remembrance, آباءكم. So you ask yourself, okay, what's happening? First of all, this is an ism that's coming after it, and it's nasab. What is making it nasab? Okay, it should have been aba'u. There's no harf of nasab before it. There's nothing. But what comes before it is actually a masdar. So this masdar is acting on that ism, which was by default it was aba'ukum, but now it is aba'akum. So this one is the maf'ul bihi of dhikrikum. The remembrance or the mention of your fathers.
So that means the way to go about it, it's like when you don't find a reason to be nasab, like if there is no other reason, obvious reason, then we should start thinking in this direction. Maybe it is acting something before it is acting as a verb, and this thing is a maf'ul of something.
Absolutely, yeah. So it answers the question, what? Remember your remembrance of what? Your remembrance of your fathers or your forefathers. So again, you can also ask yourself, okay, so what is this aba'u answering? When you figure that out, then it will tell you it's a maf'ul bihi or it's a fa'il. And then you can know if the masdar is actually doing a job there.
Then what about in assignments? Because there are no harakats there.
Yeah, that's where the trick comes in. That's where you just have to know sarf and nahu and put things together.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no shortcut there. With the Quran is easy because they put harakat for us. We're like, oh, why is this nasab? Why is this?
There are harakats.
Yeah. Okay, great. Any other questions?
No, that means how Ustad gave us the sarf kabir, like past tense, present tense, masdar, and then file. So I think the whole that line can act as a, like, first two are verbs itself, and then there is a masdar, and then it's more file, and then we go down. Then there's maf'ul. So like every can act as a masdar. Sorry, verb.
Yeah. So if you draw, like if you go like that, so basically, yeah, in that line. Then everything in that line is acting as a something
Verb.
that yeah, as a verb. So you have the two verbs, then the masdar, then the isim fa'il, then isim maf'ul.
Mhm.
Yeah. Right. That's a good way of having a mental image of the things that act as a verb, or the verbs basically, yeah. It's a good mental image. Of course, you have the other fi'ls down here as well, but yeah. Okay, great. So yeah, so the last thing we're going to look at is masters. Now, masters have different functionalities, and that's why I think it's important for us to go into deeper details. So we've looked at how words act as sifas, different words act as sifas, how we looked at different words act like fi'als. Now we want to see how different masters perform different jobs. Because sometimes a master, you see a master and you don't know what it's doing. We've already seen that it can take a maf'ul bihi. But then also a master can be a maf'ul lahu. Yeah, we haven't discussed so much about maf'ul lahu. So, or maf'ul li'ajlihi, it is also called maf'ul li'ajlihi. So this is where the master is providing a reason. So if you see something that is nasab and it is providing a reason, maf'ul lahu answers the question why. Remember that when we did the introduction way long ago? We said maf'ul lahu answers the question why. So you're reading a sentence and you see something that is nasab, because a maf'ul has to be nasab. All maf'uls are nasab. Maf'ul lahu, maf'ul bihi, maf'ul hal, whatever kind of maf'ul it is, it's going to be mansub. So you see something that is nasab and it seems like it's providing the reason. It's answering the question why. So let's look at this example here. وَلَا تَقْتُلُوا أَوْلَادَكُمْ خَشْيَةَ إِمْلَاقٍ. And don't kill your children. Why? Because you fear poverty. Because you fear poverty. So you're killing your babies because you fear that you'll be stricken by poverty. So this khashiyata is giving the reason why you shouldn't be doing that, or why you're doing something. So I hope that is clear. You can see the connection. So something is giving a reason for that. And of course, khashiyata is light because it's a mudaf, and imlaqi is a mudaf ilayh. Khashiyata imlaqi. So that's one way a masdar can be used. It can be used as a maf'ul lahu. So when you're doing the i'rab of this sentence, you would say, okay, لا تقتلوا. Of course, this is nahi. That is why it's light. The dua is antum. أولادا, it's mansub. So this is the maf'ul bihi. Don't kill who? Don't kill your children. And of course, khashyata would be the why. مفعول لأجله. So here we have a maf'ul bihi and a maf'ul لأجله, or a maf'ul lahu. I hope that's clear. I only have that one example, but maybe I'll look for more. But I think that's pretty clear. So that's one way a masdar can be used. Another way a masdar can be used is a maf'ul mutlaq. Now, I know we mentioned, I did a class on this and I told you the different kinds of maf'ul mutlaq, but today I want to go into some extra details about not maf'ul mutlaq, but something related to maf'ul mutlaq, which I didn't tell you before. Okay, so when we were discussing maf'ul mutlaq, we said there are three kinds of maf'ul mutlaq, just for revision purposes. So there's the maf'ul mutlaq that adds emphasis to the fi'l. We are all familiar with this. So when the fi'l is repeated, basically, إذا رجت الأرض رجا. So you see, the same verb is rujja, and the masdar is rajja. So the rajja, the masdar, is repeated. This masdar then becomes a maf'ul mutlaq. Maf'ul mutlaq is always a masdar. Just like maf'ul li ajlihi is going to be a masdar, or sometimes it comes with li. But most of the time it's going to be a maf'ul, a masdar, like that. So a maf'ul mutlaq is always going to be a masdar of the same verb, and it's going to be repeated. That same verb has, the masdar of it has to be repeated. If it's not repeated, then it's not maf'ul mutlaq. Okay, so that's very important rule of maf'ul mutlaq. It has to be repeated. إذا رجت الأرض رجا. And here in this case, it is emphasizing how the fi'l is being done, how extreme or how it increases emphasis on the fi'l. That's number one. Number two is if it is explaining how the action is done. So it is explaining the adding description to the action. For example, إنا فتحنا لك فتحا مبينا. So it has a صفة. The masdar came back. So you can see فتحنا and فتحا came back as a masdar. But this masdar has a description. It has something extra. So it is explaining, it's further describing what kind of a victory it was. Mubinan, it was a clear victory. It was a clear victory. Or sometimes you can have it as, instead of a mawsuf sifa, you can have it as a mudaf ilayh. That will still be this kind of category. So the masdar comes in as a mudaf ilayh. That will still be a description. Then the third one is if you're adding, like you're explaining how many times something happened. So for example, وَحُمِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ وَالْجِبَالُ فَدُكَّتَا دَكَّةً وَاحِدَةً. So you're explaining how many times something happened, how many times the fi'l happened. So the fi'l is dukkata. Dukkata is the dual verb for both the al-ard wal-jibal. So both of them, dukkata, both of them shook. How many times? One time. Okay, so that's how you understand. So sometimes the masdar can come back with a description of number, how many times it happened. So that would be maf'ul mutlaq. When the masdar comes back, that's a maf'ul mutlaq. But now, should we do the exercise first? Okay. How do you guys want us to do? Do we do this exercise first? And then we will go into na'ibul maf'ul mutlaq. Yeah, maybe, yeah, let's do the exercise. So that's basically how masdars are used. Different ways of using masdar, either as maf'ul lahu or a maf'ul mutlaq. That's how a masdar can be used. And we've also talked about how we can use words as sifa, how we can use words as fi'al. And now we are looking at how masdar can be used as a maf'ul lahu and a maf'ul mutlaq. So let's look at these examples here. You can tell me what kind of word it is based on just the summary that we've done, and then how it is used. Okay. So ذلك الرجل الجميل يصلي. What kind of a word is الجميل?
Sifa.
Yes. So this is a sifa, and how is it used?
As a sifa only?
Yes, as a sifa. So this is ism sifa, and it is used as a sifa. So الرجل الجميل. So mawsuf sifa. رجل الجميل. That beautiful man is praying. Okay. Then we have لا يزال الطعام المغطى حارا. لا يزال الطعام المغطى حارا. المغطى. Yes.
اسم مفعول.
Yes. This is the ism maf'ul. We just did naqis. So we said naqis follows the pattern muf'an. Like in the big families, we had mulqan, musamman, what else do I remember? Mustawfan. So that's the ism maf'ul in naqis for the big families. This is the same thing. So لا يزال الطعام المغطى حارا. And what kind of a role is it doing here? This ism
صفة.
maf'ul. Yes. So this is a sifa because it is describing the food. So لا يزال, still. لا يزال means still. So the food, the covered food, mughta means to cover, the thing that is covered. So the covered food is still hot. That's what the sentence means. Okay. Then we have أكرمته إكراما كبيرا. What is إكراما كبيرا?
It's a masdar or family form.
Yes, this is a إكراما is a masdar from family 4. Exactly. So أكرم يكرم إكراما. So that's a masdar. But what is it? How is it used here? إكراما كبيرا.
مطلق.
What kind of a mutlaq? What is it describe or like what is it doing?
Description.
Yes.
No.
It's so because it's a ikram and kabiran is a mawsuf sifa, so it's adding description. Like what kind of ikram was it? It was a massive ikram, honoring. Like I honored him greatly. That's how probably I will translate it. I honored him greatly. So this is a descriptor. adding a description to the fi'l. Okay. And then we have قامت البنت المجتهدة بقراءة القرآن. قامت البنت المجتهدة بقراءة القرآن. What is المجتهدة?
اسم فاعل.
اسم فاعل, exactly. So you see موئي
No.
going to be اسم فاعل.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And what is it doing here?
صفة.
Yeah. So it's acting as a sifa.
Yeah.
There we go. And then we have oh, okay. I was wondering, what did I write here? عجبت من شربك الماء بسرعة. عجبت من شربك الماء. ماء,
Can we
sorry.
translate that one?
Oh,
قامت
قامت البنت. Okay. So the mujtahida is somebody who works hard. So the girl,
Hardworking.
hardworking. Yes. Sometimes it's hard to do. The hardworking girl started. Qama, sometimes you can use it for starting to do something. So qamat B, especially when it comes with B, it has the meaning of to do something. So the hardworking girl began reading or reciting the Quran, or started reciting the Quran, something like that. Or قمت بالدراسة, for example. If I say قمت بالدراسة, I started revising. Or قمت بإكرام الضيف, I started, you know, honoring the guests. Like you can use قمت for almost everything. Yeah, it's one of those very flexible. If you don't know the verb for something, use قام بي. Like if you don't know what it means, قام بي is just amazing. You can use it for a lot of things.
Is it one of the af'al shuru?
I'm not so sure if it is, but it kind of behaves like that. And honestly, I'm not so sure because it comes with it has to come with this B. Without the B, it means just standing. Like قامت, if I just said قامت, she stood. But قامت B, then she started doing something, or she began doing something, or yeah, such meanings.
I have one more question.
Yes.
So biqira'atil Qur'ani. We are translating this as mudaf and mudaf ilayh, and qira'ati is a masdar.
Yes.
So if we say the like recitation, so she started reading what? So even this is sounding like a maful.
Yes, correct. Yes.
So like how will we know ki when we are supposed to make it Qurani or Qurana?
So in this case, قراءة القرآن, recitation of the Quran. But it's up to you actually how you want to do it, because if you say بقراءة القرآن, then the meaning is she started reciting Quran. But if you say بقراءة القرآن, which is actually the more normal way of saying this particular part, it would be she started the recitation of Quran. You understand? So the difference is if it's doing a job, most likely you translate it as ing, reciting something, doing something. But if it is just normal mudaf, you're going to translate it as an idea, a masdar. She started the recitation of the Quran. Recitation of Quran as opposed to reciting the Quran.
Sorry, can you please repeat the last sentence which you said? The second part which you said?
So if you take it as a mudaf, yes. So if you take it as a mudaf ilay, remember you have to translate it as of, something of. So in that sense, you have to translate it as a masdar, as an idea. So you will translate it as recitation of the Quran. Recitation of the Quran. But if you're translating it as acting as a verb, then you say reciting something. Because when you say when it's doing an action, then it's taking a maf'ul bihi. So the maf'ul bihi comes after it. Reciting what? Reciting the Quran. So you see, it answers the question what in that sense. So it's up to you. Actually, you can use it both ways. But I think I need to confirm that there's a place where I read that the masdar has to have an L, but I need to confirm that. I'm not so 100% sure. Because it was there in the EMSA books, you know, when the masdar has L, then whatever follows it is going to be its maf'ul.
Oh, I think I only sent that thing. Still, this question is stuck in my mind.
Yeah, for some reason that can also I'm struggling with it, but I will try and research it further and see. Maybe inshallah I will understand it. Because most of the time we're just used to mudaf mudaf ilayh. Yeah. Okay. So عجبت من شربك الماء بسرعة. So now this is what you were asking.
Okay, this is shirb is masdar.
Yeah, shurb.
Shurb, sorry, shurb.
Yeah, it's a masdar.
Drinking, you're drinking.
So of course, shurb, this will be a masdar. But what is it doing there?
It's a verb.
Yes, it's acting as a verb. So how do we know that it's acting as a verb? Because when you look at al-ma'a, water, it's coming after it. And I just put an asp there. That's, yeah, so for you to understand further what's happening. So عجبت من شربك الماء بسرعة. I am impressed with your drinking of water, or with your drinking water. So drinking what? Drinking water. It answers the question what. So I was impressed, or I have liked. Sometimes they translate ajaba as like, but I prefer impressed because it doesn't confuse the grammar. So I am impressed with your drinking of water quickly. Bisora means quickly. Like somebody maybe just drank really quickly, and I was like, oh man, the way you drank that water really impressed me. Yeah. So that's how you can use a masdar as a fi'al. Hope that's clear.
Min comes with ajib.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Comes with ajibtu. Ajaba, ajibu. Like I was impressed with. The way you say impressed with, it's the same thing. Ajibtu min.
It's family 1 or family 4?
Family 1. Ajaba ajibu.
Yeah.
Daraba yadribu. Ujibtu in this case because ui sound. Ajaba, but it's ajaba yajibu. Okay. الرجل القادم رئيس البنك. Do you guys think القادم? What kind of a word is القادم?
اسم فاعل.
Yes. اسم فاعل because it matches فاعل قادم, right? And what is it doing here? What is it acting as, or what is it doing? الرجل القادم. Yeah. It's a sifa of الرجل. So الرجل القادم, the man who is coming, so it's describing the man who is coming, رئيس البنك, is the head of the bank, or is the president of the bank, is the CEO of the bank. Yeah. الكتاب القديم في حقيبتي. الكتاب القديم في حقيبتي. I forgot to highlight this one. This is the word we're looking at. القديم. What kind of a word is that?
اسم صفة.
Yes, اسم صفة. Because it matches like كريم, رشيد, اسم صفة. And what is it doing? Yeah, most of the time actually ism sifa is that's what it does. It's called ism sifa. It's going to be describing something. Yeah, so that should be the easiest one. Anyway, so now let's go look at the next one. It says jalastu julusan. What kind of a word is julusan?
Masdar.
Yeah, this is a masdar. But what is it doing here? What role is it playing here?
Mutlaq.
This is a mutlaq because you can see it is repeated. Jalasa is the verb and julusan is the master of that verb. So, and it's what kind of a maf'ul mutlaq is it? What is it doing?
Emphasis.
Yes, emphasis. It is emphasizing the verb. So you can see like somebody maybe sat for like 12 hours straight and it's like, man, I was sitting so long. Jalastu julusan. Maybe not 12 hours, but you know how we like to exaggerate things. Maybe somebody was waiting in a queue and they sat down maybe in the bank. They were waiting and they sat for like 30 minutes like, oh, jalastu julusan. I was sitting there forever. That's basically the meaning. Okay. جاء محمد مرفوع رأسه مرفوع رأسه because مرفوع is what kind of a word?
مفعول.
Yes, اسم مفعول. So مرفوع is اسم مفعول. Now we need to ask ourselves, what is this word doing here? So جاء محمد مرفوع رأسه لأنه نجح الامتحان.
Verb.
Yes, it's acting as a فعل. Yeah, because رأسه is the outside doer. مرفوع. Yeah, so Muhammad came with his head high or his head رفع يرفع to lift. So Muhammad came with his head raised. Why? Because لأنه نجح الامتحان or نجح في الامتحان because he passed the exams. So this one is acting as a verb. In this case, and it's taking a فاعل. رأسه. There you can see. It's taking a فاعل. هذا هو الكاتب المقالة. هذا هو الكاتب المقالة. So what is, yes, كاتب is an اسم فاعل. But what is it doing?
Verb.
Yes, it's acting as a verb. How do we know that it's acting as a verb? Because it answers the question what. So هذا هو الكاتب. If I say هذا هو الكاتب, this is the writer. Writer of what? المقالة. So مقالة is answering the question what. This is the writer of the article. Okay. هذا هو الكاتب المقالة. This is the article's writer. You can say something like that, or the writer of the article.
Maqala, what is the ending of maqalatu? No, not maqalatu. What is the
مقالة.
it is
because
fatha?
yes, it's a
Okay.
مفعول. Because it's a مفعول به of الكاتب.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it's a مفعول به, it has to be mansub. And it cannot be anything else because al-katib has al on it. So I cannot say هذا هو الكاتب المقالة. Why? Because if I make it مقالتي, it's going to be a مضاف مضاف إليه, and therefore I cannot say al-katib. I have to say هذا هو كاتب المقالة. Hope that's clear. So now you can see the difference between a مضاف مضاف إليه and when it takes a مفعول به. So this is a dead giveaway. If you have an al, then whatever comes after it is going to be maf'ul bihi. If you don't have an al, that's where it can be either or. That's where you not just have to decide which one. And most of the time, just go with mudaf ilayh. It's easier. Yeah. All right. قولك الخير قولك الخير صدقة.
Masdar. It's a masdar.
Yes. So this is قول is the masdar. قال يقول قولا فهو قائل قولا. So قولك is a masdar. قولك الخير صدقة. What is it doing here? Yeah, it's acting as a verb because it's making al-khair mansub. So you're saying of what? It answers the question what? You're saying of good, basically you saying good or speaking good, that's what it means. Speaking good is charity, sadaqah. This is the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Yeah. هي ممتلئة هي ممتلئة قلبها شكرا. This is a bit tricky, but let's see if we can figure it out. ممتلئة ممتلئة.
اسم فاعل.
Yeah, اسم فاعل. So even if you don't know the word, you've never had it before, you just ask yourself, what does it match with? What do I know of sarf that I can be able to recognize it? And I know that this one ممتلئة is an اسم فاعل. But what is it doing here? ممتلئ. Yes, it's acting as a verb, because if you look at the next word, قلب is the fa'il of ممتلئة. So here ممتلئة قلبها شكرا. What that means is that, let me do a bad translation and then we can fix it. So here, she ممتلئة is filled. So امتلأ يمتلئ, to fill. So she is filled. قلبها ممتلئة. She is filled, her heart, with what? شكرا.
اسم فاعل, the other way is like the one who fills.
Oh,
Like
yes.
the person who does the job.
Yes, the one who fills.
So like then how did you okay, because it's acting as a verb, that's why you said filled. That's
yes.
why.
Yes. Yeah.
It can be like any of the verb, like it can be either madi or it can either be translated as present tense. Any of the tenses can be, or if there's something specific key, the active, like the file, ismu file will be translated as like either only like this, either only like a past tense, and maf'ul will be either only translated as a present tense, or it can be like anything can act as any verb.
So only the isim fa'il, the isim maf'ul, and the masdar, they can do this. Not any other word. But
No.
So,
that was not my question. My
yes.
question was like, over here you translated it as filled, like that's sounding like a madi. So my question was that the ismu file will be translated always, or it can be either translated either to the past tense, or it can also be translated to the like a present tense, like fills.
Okay. Yeah. Most of the time you have isim fa'il being translated like filling or filler. So that's how it will be translated. But it depends on the verb. Like for this verb, imtala'a means he is filled. So it's lazim. That's why I'm translating it in the past tense, because it is lazim. So imtala'a, he is filled. Yamtali'u, he is being filled. Right? So mumtali'a, he is filled. Because I don't know any other way of translating it, because it's passive. So he is filled. So his heart, basically, mumtali'atun qalbuha. Qalbuha is the thing that is filled in this case, because it's the one doing the action. Like if I say he is filled, I'm referring to he is the one doing the action. But if there's an outside doer, like here we have qalbu, so it is his heart that is being filled, or that is filled. Don't know if that makes sense. So especially with lazim, pairs that are lazim, it's very hard to translate the isim fa'il. You can't just say, okay, this is the way I'm going to translate the isim fa'il. Most of the time it's either I put er or I put ing. But that's the standard. Normally isim fa'il, you would say er or ing. But in this case, it's kind of hard because it's passive. Yes, Fauzia? You have something?
This would be translated as her heart is filled with gratitude.
Yes.
Or her heart is filling with gratitude.
Yeah,
but
you
if
can
we
do
wanted, but if we wanted to say it in the past tense, would we have added a kana in here?
Yes.
Her heart was filled with gratitude.
Absolutely.
So
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Yeah, because already the meaning of passive, like it's a passive meaning, you have was filled or is filled already there. So if you wanted to make it past tense, then you can add kana. كان قلبها ممتلئة بالشكر, or in this case كان ممتلئة قلبها شكرا. كان yeah, because قلب is masculine, I think, yeah. Or is it feminine? كانت.
But
Anyway,
it would be mumtaliyatan, or it would be mumtaliyatan.
It would be ممتلئة actually. Yeah, because if you introduce كان, then you're gonna make it ممتلئة. Then قلبها شكرا. Yeah, if you introduce a كان.
Will it with kana? Can it like
Marfua, right?
Sorry?
Ismu kana is
قلب.
marfu.
Yes. So قلبه.
Okay.
Because the ism here is قلب. The
Oh,
fa'il.
mumtaliyatun would not play the ism of kana.
If you introduce a kana, I think this would be the khabar.
Okay.
Yeah, if you introduce a kana, because this is our mubtada. If we introduce a kana, so it would be like kana ممتلئة قلبها شكرا. So the mubtada will become the khabar. So the khabar will become marfu, because here is the mubtada. I don't know if I made sense there. I hope that, yeah, I know that example was a bit strange because it's not normal way of speaking, but I think you get the idea of how isim fa'ils and isim maf'uls work. Okay, let's do the last one. ضربته ضربتين. What is ضربتين?
Masdar.
Yeah, this is a masdar. ضرب يضرب ضرب. That is where it comes from. So ضرب, then you take it to the Muslimatun chat, ضربتun. But what is it doing here? ضربتين.
Maf'ul mutlaq,
Yes,
because it's describing the action.
exactly.
No, adding a number.
Adding a number. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I think this is number. This is number. Because it's saying how many times. ضربته ضربتين. I beat him twice. So that's how you translate it. I beat him twice. It's explaining how many times something happened. Oof, I really hoped we would have done Naibul Maf'ul Mutlaq today, but I don't know if you guys want to go on or what do we do? Because it's already time.
I want this to settle in my brain. I don't want to go on.
Yeah. Yeah, that
This
was
is
a
good
lot.
work, but it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. And you know, it's already like late, so the brain is not really active. Yeah, I was hoping to finish this, but alhamdulillah. Anyway, I think Maf'ul Mutlaq, because it's a new topic, it's better if we start like when we are a bit fresh, because right now the brains are yeah. But that's basically just how different words are used. So just remember, like, you can have an isim fa'il that acts as a sifa. It can act as a fa'il, as a verb. And you have masdar that can behave as a maf'ul li'ajlihi, like gives a reason why. And it can also act as a maf'ul mutlaq. And I don't know if there are any other questions. I think, yeah. So next week, we'll just have to finish na'ibul maf'ul mutlaq and then decide what next to do, inshallah, in the group. Any questions so far? That was a heavy finish.
It was a lot of fun. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
I'll try to keep on doing this. Actually, my idea moving forward is if we can have more of this kind of exercises to keep the things, because sarf, you can't really do this. Sarf is it's crazy. But with the remaining topics, it's easy to do such exercises. So inshallah, maybe that's what we'll do. Right, I think we can end there today. So سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.